welcome to the WTL Arena episode 10. Today we're going over a roughly iron to gold elo game in the arena. It's a pretty normal draft. There's nothing too out of the ordinary, but let's have a quick look at the OPGGs. So this is, I believe, the blue team. Looks like they're pretty much across relatively familiar champions. It looks like their jungler is on Zac. Okay, this is something he doesn't have too many games on, so not everybody in this lobby is on pure comfort. When it comes to red team, it looks like there's a lot more comfort in this team. There's more of their like one trick or two trick type champions they have a lot more games on. Is there anything that stands out to you guys when you look at this draft here?
Well, interesting, because I think that's the way that we want to view it, especially in these lower ranked matches. It's about comfort, right?
Mm-hmm.
How good are we at executing our champion? It's less about the holistic draft. Are we able to play LEC level drafts? No, that doesn't really matter. It's about how good are we actually on our champs,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what we need to look for. Like, who is actually on our mains? What is the champion mastery on both teams? And that's going to give us a bit of a picture of how the game is going to be playing out.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think the champion mastery is a big consideration. And just looking at the bot lane perspective here, I really like most of the picks here. Lux has incredibly clear points of reference. Same with Jinx. Rel is a little bit muddier, but I have worked with Linwood a little bit already. So yeah, I agree. We just got to keep it as simple as possible, reduce as many variables as possible. I'm interested to see how the Draven is going to pan out. I think that's a pretty precise champion to execute in the lower elos, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think
what I reckon. Oh god.
Well, I think it's interesting in this game because I feel like when I look at this game, blue team has a lot of like very good team fighting champions, and red team has very little CC. But also the red team matchups across the entire map are really really strong, and they have a strong jungler. So it's like, can they survive and not bleed out on blue, or if red can really just like put their foot down on the game with their strong champs?
There's going to be a few deaths rocking up on red side eventually with blue side's team comp. Lot of threat all over the board. And we see that the self-peel is very, very limited. I think it's a really hard one to play out for a lot of red side's champions.
Yeah.
Great. Let's start in bot lane here. I think bot lane is very interesting in the early game.
Hold on. What happened
here?
Yeah,
I had a big focus.
What is going on here? He places his ward really late. He's just walking across mid at 120. Okay.
Does he even
Guys,
make it to his...
late?
Maybe not.
Yeah, he's late to camps and everyone knows where he is. I guess they had ward down already, so it's not the biggest deal. It's only, 2 or 3 seconds. You want to look at bot lane?
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think of this opening position?
Big
What do you
emphasis. Reckon? Yeah, I mean, I really like what Draven and Lux are looking to do here. I'm very pleasantly surprised that they understand how much stronger they are level 1, especially if Rel can't get on top of the Lux, which we just found out that she can. But Draven is going to have a much better extended fight than the Jinx. And what I would have liked to see is Lux just kind of like poke them on lane entrance and then just keep, playing on your range and your cooldowns and let Draven do his thing. So that was really cool to see. And I think like as the game goes on, I'm not going to expect too much in terms of, macro and cohesion and that type of structure. But I would like to see just a rough idea of what your champion wants in the lane.
I feel like Draven's doing a really good job. I think they could have sent it there though.
And that's the thing about Draven, right? Is like he's a champion that demands a really precise understanding of your limits, which is quite hard to develop in the lower elos when you want to just have a more simpler point of reference.
I think whenever I look at Draven, every time I see him auto a champion, I'm just surprised with how much damage that he actually deals. Like it's actually significantly more than any other champion just with this 1x auto attack. It's just wild to me.
Well, okay.
It's a lot of damage. And he can just kind of run forwards and ignore waves sometimes, which just kind of like breaks what you normally expect in the bot lane.
Yeah, fascinating.
Not a big fan of this ward here. I think it should always go in Tribush, especially when your jungler's coming to your side and is going to play into Crab. The more useful ward is definitely up here. Because from here, Zac could jump from like here and they can't see him. Could get kind of spicy. How's mid going? Well, Zed is kind of centered here. What happened here?
Yeah, let's take a look at mid a bit. Okay.
It's all right for Zed, no? If he has 13 CS at this point.
Yeah, Zed is completely winning here.
This trade is not great, though.
I think that the trade in itself was really good for Zed. because Zed is one of these champs that he works with kill threat.
Mhm.
And if you can put the enemy under kill threat or like trading threat, then it's really good for him because he gets a bit of lane control back and it gives him more access to the wave.
Mhm.
So in all in like that, I think the idea was good. Of course, the execution, it could have been a little bit later down the line, so he had more room upon the lane. He also normally does that with Conquer and not with Electrocute, so he also deviates a little bit from his rune choice in this case. So there's some mixing up of identities and what you actually want to be doing here.
Yeah, it's my understanding that Electrocute is more for playing against like Kiana, Talon type stuff, where you like are just taking short trades on Shadow rather than doing anything else, and Conquer is so you can actually burst through the full HP bows. There's a lot of action down here.
Yeah, a lot of action.
Yeah.
Let's quickly end the point on Zed. So it really just depends. You can also run like Electrocute into Kiana. It just depends on how you want to fight and how you want to trade.
Mhm.
That's the big difference maker.
Ooh, okay, good E from Draven.
So
I guess
what we're going to see down here is one of the most common mistakes I see in a losing matchup where you don't understand that you're losing enough, and then you can get bailed out by your jungler in a losing bot lane. But if you have no flash and you have no health by the time that your jungler is ready to help you, you've just messed up pretty big. So what I would have liked to see from the Jinx Rel lane is just, concede the shove, preserve their health a little bit more, wait for their jungler to clear down, and then we can kind of full send it and relieve a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, it's a very common mistake I see from like junglers in my reviews as well, that they will try and like push the game forwards when their lane is just not in good condition. And so often they just get 2v3'd or like they're just playing into a losing 3v3. If you just headbutt like losing side of the map when the conditions aren't good, it can get like really bad really quickly.
And I want to note, like, Zach got the gank off before the Pantheon because Pantheon was slow on his chickens level 1, by the way. That was a really fun detail that slightly impacted bot lane play.
Oh no, what has happened here? Oh no. Is it our first strike
So
of the game? This seems really...
What should Zach do?
That's quite aggressive from Zach.
It's extremely aggressive from Zachary Champion, which is not a... I would say not a traditional, like, champion to be sending it like this, right? Like, I mean, Zach... Like, bot lane just use sums, right? Like, there's no sums on Draven. His priority should be to just get back to his camps and play into bot lane again. His bot lane should conserve HP, and then once he's done with his clear, he shows up again here. And if they see on their wards no Pantheon, they just send it and try and play for Draven kill. It's pretty... I don't know. He's also happy scaling. If nothing happens, he's very happy, because as he gets levels in this game, the game will get better for him.
I think just like keeping it simple and just doing less, right? That's something that Nathan talks a lot about, and probably you as well in the Jungle Academy. You don't have to do any fancy like cross maps and counter jungles the whole time. You just kind of put your camps on cooldown and have an idea of which lane deserves your attention and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Zac, you're very happy just getting levels in E. Like, when you have 5 points E, your champ is so much more threatening than at any other point in the game. So there's kind of no reason to push the game forward so aggressively. Look for these like Raptor invades, especially against champions that are going to come out of base with 2 longswords. Like, all these 80 bruisers, they're so strong on this base.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good first strike here that we got. I think we see a masterclass in red side bot lane here. That was incredible baiting.
I think that Rel W forwards might lose them the lane.
Yeah.
That was pretty devastating. Even in an isolated 2v2, Wing forwards like that is almost never going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's Draven champion who can interrupt it so easily.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I think that's a strike for this one. That was completely overforced, in my opinion.
It was also, the jungler was not even close, right? And we knew the Pantheon had much more tempo in the game because Zac ran topside and died to him, right? So we know that like Pantheon's very fast in this situation. So
yeah, just a little bit more specifically for what Rel should do. I'd like to see her spend a little more time in human form rather than horse form and just have a bit of a shield to sustain the poke and just try to minimize. Your job is not to kill bot lane 2v2. It's to chill out and to get out of lane. And then your team fights are going to be better and you can just kind of help yourself with that a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be very comfortable as like the Rel Zac side, just chilling and scaling.
Yeah,
it's not even like their lane is like a complete disaster, anyways. Like Jinx still has 45 CS. It's fine, they're allowed to breathe. If they were getting like suffocated, if they were really like bleeding in lane, maybe I could understand the desire to like send it a little bit more, try and get out of the situation, but it's really fine.
And just expanding on that play we saw, I think we're starting to see more and more why Draven is not a great pick for low elo. He already missed one of those windows to just kind of run them down the lane and really explore the limits, because Draven has incredibly high limits. And on that play as well, they should have just straight up dove the Jinx, right? Jinx is isolated, Pantheon is nearby. Jinx shouldn't get access to that wave. And it's hard to kind of make those calls in the lower elo brackets. And if you don't, and Draven doesn't really get the ball rolling as much as he should, he's not going to be the most useful.
Yeah, I feel like that was a missed kill as well. It just a lot of opportunities for Draven to really just like walk forwards when enemy team makes mistakes. Yeah, just there's too much passivity, I think, and not understanding the limits. All right.
Good.
What's going on in mid matchup? Looks like it's just like
Yep.
comfortable for Victor. Kind of chilling. He's up like what, half a level on Zed.
That's actually pretty
Did
impressive.
Zed roam
because-
towards Grubs while a wave was under his tower?
If we go
I think
back,
he may have lost an
he
entire
did.
wave.
Yep, this wave goes into tower here.
Oh wow.
Okay.
That's tough. And then,
This might be. Is this an inclination you see, Tim, where the lower bracket elo mid laners try to help out their teammates or their junglers too much at the
We
consequence?
gotta
of
go a
their
bit
lane
back. Let's analyze it here. Let's go a bit back and see what his thought process is here. So, what I'm talking about in these type of situations is that if you can, you shouldn't help your jungle, of course. And we're talking about lane control and about possibilities of potential fights happening. And what we see in this particular situation is that from Zed's side, are we in control? Yes or no? Well, I think we are, because Victor has no mana. So if we are in control and Victor has no mana, if something breaks that out on the Grubs fight, do we need to be early? Not necessarily, because we're going to be 10 times more useful than this Victor anyway, because Victor can't use any spells. So I would just lean heavily towards top side, place my ward in the top side bush, keep control of the lane, make sure Victor will never ever be able to move first, and that way we get best of both worlds. Get both the wave and the Grubbies.
yeah, the worst thing is like letting Victor out of this jail he was in, right? Where he had no mana. Like Victor's in like it's a tough situation for him to navigate because he can't push out in base. He has to take like a bad base at some point or like concede complete control to you. So letting him out of jail just to go help Grubs a little bit faster doesn't make sense if you're already gonna like win the fight if it happens. Also, Zed has 4 points W.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I'm not sure what to say about this one. This spell
Is
doesn't.
this a Zed main, this guy?
I mean, I can have a look at the OPGGs. Which is this?
the other side, I think.
Osef and Sovereign. No, he has 52 Zed games, but
Yeah, he's
27% win rate on Zed.
Right. So we now know why he has a 20% win rate
Yeah.
on Zed, because he maxes W first.
Yeah,
We
this
strike him for this.
Yeah, that's a big strike. That's a
double strike, but that's an end of review, by the way.
It's end of review. He's
That
done.
is, I'm sorry, Sovereign, but we got to be very, very honest with it. We never want to see this again.
Yeah.
Ever.
The
W max does not give you any damage, right?
Yeah, and as an assassin, it's kind of tough not to have the damage. Oh
That's
man.
awesome.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's never going to kill him because he got no damage.
He got the Victor flash.
I really, from the support perspective, I really like the look from Linwood on the rel here. We stayed in fog, which we have talked about, and we only looked to gank when the Victor was extended and out of position. So we end up getting Victor flash, putting a 5-minute target on Victor's back. So that's definitely a good sign from blue side here.
From a gameplay perspective, from the Zed side, I do kind of like the flash forwards and force the Victor flash, because Zed can play without flash very easily, but Victor is really suffering without flash, so I'm super down from like a gameplay point of view, but it's just going to be really tricky when we don't do any damage.
Let's spend some time on top. What's happening on top? We've not seen much top action just yet.
There hasn't been too much fighting here, to be honest. Like, they put their sums on cooldown, but they're never really that low.
Yeah, it's interesting because Darius is going full defensive mode here. It seems like he's scary. He's scared. I think he got a little bit clapped in the trades by the Akali in the first few waves.
I think it's good, though. I think this Negatron is really good against Akali top. You just opt into this, and then you move into first item. I think it's pretty good. Especially if she's going to come back with Sulks. I think there's a big itemization advantage here for Darius.
But he seems quite far behind, though. He's almost like he's over 2 waves behind in gold, and he might have dropped an entire wave or more on a reset timer that we didn't have a look at.
Yeah,
Not
I
sure
think
that's how this matchup should go on early.
when it comes to Darius, I think that like you have to take Flash Ghost on this champion, right? Which means you play without teleport. And I think what players often miss is that Darius has to use the fact that he's Giga strong levels 1 through 3 to set up like a favorable wave state for him to take a good base at some point. And I think that it's just like if you miss this window, then it's very easy to fall behind.
There's not a kill here.
I would ghost forward on that. Yeah, Akali used all of her defensive spells forwards.
So that's the thing that we're, I think, seeing with this guy, and we also spotted a little bit when we glimpsed over his lane. He just doesn't have that unbridled aggression that you need to have on this Darius champ. Very similar as to Draven. And I think if you don't do that, and if you don't take these opportunities, or at least try to take these opportunities, this champion in the end won't have the most effect, because that's one of our biggest strengths. So yeah, I think for the effect of how top lane matchups currently played out, I think that this is very interesting to watch.
All right, there's a couple key notes here. I think Akali's missing out on a lot of like Q here. I think this fight wasn't the worst. If it's QR already, it would be so much better. And then auto E, so we get another passive proc, right? E.
Yeah, a lot of missed damage.
Another Q out here. Just missing a lot of passive proc, a lot of Q damage.
Pretty sure she could have killed him.
Yeah, there was threat on Darius there. There was potential for kill there. I don't know if it's 100% kill if Darius plays properly, but yeah.
But that's the thing with the champion that has a higher skill floor than a lot of other champions, right? Like to be able to function decently on Akali, you do need to have a lot of mastery and understand how to rotate your spells and your passive and deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky. I like the aggression though, like seeing a window where it's like, all right, maybe we can kill here. I'm down. Ooh, this Drake start is brave.
Let's see what we're gonna.
Both lanes are getting pushed
pretty.
in. And Pantheon's on this side of the map.
Yeah, this is high variance, let's say.
Oh, okay, wait.
That's one way to describe it.
He has 5 camps up as well. Oh, is it going to pay off? Oh, wait, he didn't see yet.
Oh.
He doesn't see.
He has to see.
That's okay.
Pantheon's smite is way better here as well. If he just plays patient and Q smites it, he always gets
this. Just gonna Q smite.
Never mind.
Oh, buddy.
He didn't Q smite.
Is Zach's E on cooldown? What? Oh.
Yeah, he used it forward here
to hit the Drake.
the
okay, I think we gotta strike Pantheon here for not smiting that properly.
Yeah, the Q smite is a really big one to miss. It's so
and
good
I think
on Pantheon.
we gotta also strike Zach here for the play.
Another one, yeah. Oh, I like that it's always bot side. This was kind of bad. I think
we got no prio.
Yeah,
we shouldn't do Drake.
All of our camps are up.
I think something that people can think about a little bit more is just like fixing bad wave states. You don't have to, kill bot. You can just allow your Jinx and your Rel to get a crash into base and then just allow yourselves to scale up a little bit more. People sometimes struggle, especially from the bot lane and the support perspective, to just like shove ping and ask your jungler to fix a wave. It's either like people just think you just got to kill them or you can't do anything. And so I would love to see just crashing this wave, getting them out of lane and progressing towards like a mid-game state where it's just a little bit more scaling and slow paced.
Well, Draven's kind of Jeff Bezos right now. He's really rich after that kill. he's I guess, yeah. Everyone has so much money in inventory at all times, though. Something I noticed as well.
Very common. Resetting fighting conditions is very.
Oh, wait, he's
misunderstood.
Is he?
Oy, okay.
Good night.
Let's see what happens on the top lane here.
Yeah. Okay, how did this end up happening? Oh, I think it's the same thing as before. Akali uses all of her spells, and then she has no W, no E, and Darius still has hook. If Darius still has hook when Akali has no W, no E, super easy to just get all-in. Darius refuses to ghost in these fights, though. It should always be ghost before you flash.
I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding in this HP to Shadow player. I think he's struggling a bit with fully digesting the Darius identity and his recklessness. And I think for that we're going to give him a strike, even though he gets a kill. I think we gotta strike him up here.
Yeah, he's missing the opportunity. As soon as Akali uses W and E, she has nothing left. Like you have two movement summoners, and all she has to ult through you for one of them, and then the other one is just a dash, right? So if you stay on this side of her and don't let her ult through you to tower, she only has like one effective dash, and you have two movement summoners, so it's very easy to run her down at that point.
I want to praise a few players. I think Victor has done a really nice job just farming it up, getting strong. I think that the Jinx has done an incredible job minimizing all the pressure, even though that Rel sometimes was even dead and not helping her. And I think Jinx and Draven so far Jinx and Victor have done a great job. I think Draven, he's missed some windows, but overall is doing a pretty good job. He's gotten a priority most of the times.
He's up
He has good
1.2k
first
gold.
windows.
That's not bad.
Exactly. So a lot of players are actually doing pretty well. So definitely give some credit where it's due.
I think, like, outside of the fact that Draven misses like the lethal windows, I think that the way Draven opens his trades in this game has been really good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of the champion in this elo, but I think he's been piloting it okay.
Oh no.
Oh,
my
no.
God.
Oh no. Alright, wait.
What happened to Pantheon Smite?
He early smites it, I think. Wait, let's have a look. No, where did his smite go? So he has one up now. Where does it go? He smites enemy Rel
Shots of
here.
Rel.
Yeah.
That's something you would do?
I mean, I'm pretty trigger happy to use my smite in combat, but if I don't have smite and there's objective up, I'm very comfortable just resetting the scenario and just like full clearing back into whatever I need to do.
Right.
It's like, I'd
That
always
makes
rather, yeah, it's like, you don't have to force this right now. It's like, enemy support is dead, right? We could just, like, we have ult, we could just go back to bot camps. If they try and force this, we fight it. Otherwise, we just sequence back into it, play it all again. Because we're pretty far ahead. Like, we're not scared of this objective dying in our face. So.
Okay. Would you say this is strike worthy or not?
I don't know.
Or just unlucky?
This is pretty random because, like, Zach has to kill himself to do this, right? So it's like, it's not exactly like a high value steal from Zach either. So I think it's fine. You get a lot of like, it's like 27 seconds on Zach. He's dead for so long. You get a bunch of camps, you get a good base, you get some extra gold. So I think it's chill. As long as you can defend the hero play.
Let's go to red side. Let's make the fork for red side, and let's see how they can clear out this game from this point.
All right.
And I think it's going to be interesting to start focusing upon the mid lane right now, because we're going to go into the mid game, and this is where all mid laners are losing their minds because the options are overwhelming. So let's see what we're going to be doing.
So how can red side for some mobile mages in the mid to late game, right? Like they're not sure if they should side lane, and then they're susceptible to getting killed, and they don't want to contest ADCs for last hits, and then it just gets a little bit messy.
That's right. So how can red side win the game here? How can they snowball from this point?
They need to play control into Victor's side, I think. So Victor needs to have vision to be able to step up. He has okay vision here, but this mid wave, he needs to lean up. This mid wave needs to go in, and then they need to take space here so Victor can keep pushing waves onto this tower. And we should progress on this bot tower eventually. All right, we get the mid push. Let's see what all the homies do in the river. All right, it's not bad.
What we're going to need to see from that is for Lux to be comfortable just leaving Draven to get the shove, and then to link up with the Pantheon and control towards bot side here.
All right, we get the mid kill. Victor can push this wave up now. What do we do here?
This is actually really good by red side. I love how they translate their lead towards the strong side where the Victor is. It's also the side where the next neutral is. I think that the overall macro here is actually at a really good level.
Look, we have Drake in 25. Darius, instead of opening to top wave, just base opens straight to the Drake.
Someone's doing the lull stats properly in red team here. I don't know who it is, but props to the one that's calling this stuff here. Great stuff.
All right.
Yeah, they're looking pretty synced up. It's good to see.
Yeah, he gets to slam his bot tower a little bit as well, while Akali's hitting top. This looks great. Darius is close to mid to help with the mid push.
Yep. It would be amazing if someone would also be like helping Victor on this bot turret, because that's the turret that we're trading for the top turret. So I think there's an argument that, for example, either Lux or either Darius can actually go to bot. The other one is actually keep hovering on mid. And instead of taking a fight on mid, I think we can actually trade for bot T1.
I think in an ideal world, because we're so much stronger on red side, we don't necessarily have to trade top for bot, especially if we find a pick. Maybe we can just minimize how much we're investing into Dragon and just make sure Akali doesn't get too much done on top side. But just to simplify things, I agree. If we're going to be bot side, let's take Dragon, let's use bot wave, let's put some pressure on bot tower.
But overall, really good adaptability here by red side. Going back to Dragon.
In general, I'm a fan of like skipping the Drake and just playing for tower first, and you can play for Drake on the back end.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one here because red side doesn't have much Drake damage without Draven. So
Yeah, this takes forever.
Okay, beautiful.
Atakan is up now.
Let's see what they do.
Is there ever a world where you match Victor into... Victor vs Akali seems like a scuffed matchup for now, right? He's kind of squishy.
The matchup is not really what you worry about in this case. You worry more about the side of the map you're on. You need to be on strong side. Because if you're on weak side as Victor in this either matchup, you're screwed.
Yeah, it makes sense. Alright. It's just concerning for me sometimes. If Victor wants to play up into here and the Kali's on top wave and they can just TP on Victor, it could get kind of scuffed. Could be kind of spicy. Because they have like such reliable force as well with Zac and Rel.
Let's see how the setup for the Atakan.
Alright.
Let's see where the Victor's going as well.
He's driving. Everybody on red's invis.
Ooh, that's a strike for Victor right there.
Yeah.
We're striking Victor on this one.
He TP'd to bot tower.
He TP'd to bot tower.
Yeah.
He did.
I see. I mean, he gets his like 5 minions, I guess. I don't know. He needs to walk with the homies so we can get control, no?
Exactly. We need to open up true mid there, then get visions on bot side once again. And if we then sacrifice a few minions, it is what it is. But after pushing out mid and getting control on bot side, that's when we move back into bot.
Yeah, you can keep playing like a psychopath. It's like you sacrifice one turn to go get all of this vision here, and then you can just play your lane like a psychopath. Because you're super safe at that point. Because he's so scared right now, right? He's just like... Okay, he got the tower, I guess, with the minions. But like,
I think
he's so...
on the flip side of the coin as well, like you need to be ready to punish an isolated immobile mage. If you see them disconnected, you have quite a lot of threat with the Rel and with the Zac. Yeah. And we have a shutdown on Victor's head as well. So we could be looking to punish as well.
Yeah, I think like... For sure, Zac should just be like looking for lane gank. Like, if Akali gets a push out top, she can base and open through bot, maybe look for Victor. I also think
especially
that,
if we're struggling to get mid pressure.
Yeah, Rel is just like tied to mid, but they can't win on mid wave. Like, they can't get anything done. So she's standing here kind of to lose, you know? Okay, we get Lux Flash.
Yeah. So one of the key things that I see in lower ranked games, I also see it in my reviews, is that players don't understand the mindset of mid game. They don't understand that they need to think in terms of control. So in this entire sequence, Victor's been pushing out bot lane wave, then just walking around. And what we should do instead is you shift towards different points of the map, getting vision control, setting up better for neutral objectives. But instead, they're just lingering around the lane, not really doing anything.
My instinct was to ping Rel Flash there. I was like, wait, where's tab menu? Alright. Yeah, because this jungle should be getting controlled here, so Victor can keep pushing up, and then once they have enough control, they can start the Atakan. Alright, okay.
I would just like to see a little bit more confidence from red side around the middle of the map. Like, you have a really fed Pantheon, really strong Draven, your Victor's doing well as well, and I think we're just a little bit hesitant to push the vision line forwards and progress.
Okay, we get
good decisiveness.
See what they turn this into.
I mean, this could really snowball the game if it's played out correctly. If Darius pushes this out, kills this tower, pushes another wave, bases, open to bot side, and they do full bot side control, I think game instantly ends. Like, it's so unplayable. It's just interesting to see what will actually happen. It's a bit of a... It
looks
pushes
like
forward
red
the game
team,
so fast.
Yeah, it looks like red team might be valuing the Atakan spawn instead of trying to play for that top tower there.
Darius does have it by himself. Oh, okay. He's not confident he kills it. Akali's going to TP back, and this is going to get a bit scuffed. Maybe?
Yeah, so he's got no AD in his build, so I think it's fine what he's doing. The main thing that I'm seeing right here is that the red side just doesn't know how to snowball the lead with what they had right now, which is totally understandable, right? It's really hard to do unless you know exactly what to look for.
Yeah, I think you can simplify it a lot, though. Pretty much just like... Okay, nice. Another one. Some good picks coming out. I mean, the general idea you're just going to want to look for is to take one side of the enemy's jungle on the side that your like strong side is, right? So you want to play around your Draven, your Victor, so they're on mid bot, and you want to take control of this space. You want to eat their jungle camps. You want to push them out from this space. Make sure you get all the objectives on this side. The players on this side can push out the wave. It's a bit complicated to set up, but the general idea is relatively simple.
I think what I would like to see more from the support's perspective is just to leave their ADC alone a bit more. It's very common in lower elos for supports to just constantly shadow and babysit their ADCs throughout the entire game. I talk about becoming a secondary jungler, unlocking yourself on the map, pressuring with your jungler. And that's going to be a big way that you do progress and snowball the game, right? The support and the jungler link up and they move between lane and they get vision control.
Yeah, especially for Rel in this game. It was a big comeback fight.
Really big. Let's break it down here.
We're going to have to see what happens here.
All right. It looks like Zach has a mega angle here. It looks like Zed's going to get in as well. Where does Zed come from? Oh my god. Okay.
Wait, I didn't even... Where was Zed?
He was stuck in
the
here.
bush.
Yeah.
I looked away for a second. Oh.
Okay. Yeah. All right. This is a bit brave from Zach, but at least he turns around.
Redeeming play for Zed. The 5 points W popped off there, I think.
Completely one-shot the guy. Okay. Draven Flash.
What's the issue here, right? Let's break down the issue, because I think it partially lies in the setup of the objective. Like, the entire team didn't set up the objective properly.
They couldn't see anything, right? Like, Zach was jumping from fog, Zed was flying in from fog. So, like, if the assassins can be in positions where you can't see them, they're super OP. But if you can see them, it's very easy to play around them.
Yeah, I see this quite a bit when some of my students are ahead in the mid to late game and they don't actually develop a strategic advantage. They just have more gold, but they don't shove out waves. They don't force the enemy to react. They don't push the vision line forward. And then at that stage, it's just kind of like a 5v5 flip, and whoever executes better can come out ahead. So if you are ahead in the mid to late game, use that, right? Have better vision control and have the waves shoved.
Okay. I want to deal out a few strikes. I want to do one for Rel for the death on mid, for the neutral.
Yeah.
I want to give one to Darius for not being ready and having letting Akali have first move on the dragon. For Pantheon, Victor, Lux, and Draven for not setting up the objective properly. Yes, I'm dealing out strikes.
It's tough. Yeah. I mean, like, they were so far ahead. This fight should never be possible. It should be like, there's just so much weakness across the map for blue that you should just be able to get push everywhere, take all the control, and never let them in. And they shouldn't be able to get this kind of fight on you for sure.
And I see this a lot in like group play settings when you're on a call. People just kind of like clump together, and then an ARAM and a 5v5 just kind of happens. Like, you got to understand what you want, right? And to just not be afraid to shove some waves and to avoid an ARAM if you don't have to.
I find it interesting because in a lot of reviews, people will say like they have this kind of like nervousness in solo queue where they're like, my teammates are just going to die if I do something else and I leave them alone. And then when they get into the group setting where they can talk together, figure out everyone, okay, you need to chill. I can do this. You wait for me, and then, but they still do the same thing where they're like, all right, I can trust my teammates now, but like, I still have to like, compensate and always be near them, ready to just play all together. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think to give the devil its due, mid game is very complex, and it's easy to just kind of default to what you're comfortable with and to try and minimize the variables that you have to think about, and just grouping up and fighting, makes sense on that front. It is very hard to work on your mid game macro, but there's a lot of room for improvement always.
Yep. Yeah, especially if I look at Victor. Victor's just been waddling around, not getting a single creep on ball for a minute now. And what he needs to do is he needs to play with his Pantheon, call his Pantheon over, and also then make sure that he can link up and get vision control so he can actually push in deeper. And ideally around the side that they want to be playing on. So I think Baron is a lot more valuable than the Atakan at the moment. So I would even say that he should swap up the lane assignments with Darius and get topside control.
Yeah, he should swap, but also he just needs resources, right? He just needs his support and his jungler to play towards him and to get vision. And especially like in solo queue settings, the stars aren't always going to align, and sometimes you're just going to be on the wrong side of the map. But you just need to understand what you need and what you want, especially as a mobile mage on the side lane.
Mm-hmm. What happened?
So
here?
what happened on mid
We
here?
found another fight.
Yeah.
Oh, the Cardinals walking out from right-clicking mid tower.
Yeah, a lack of understanding on how to actually progress and what is next. Like just brute forcing sieging mid outer with no wave.
Yeah.
Is a surefire way to lose games. Yeah.
No.
I think like the most common way I see lower elo games get thrown is just shoving mid until you guys die and not understanding wave states and everything else.
Yeah,
it's true, right? It's true. But I think this is all Victor's fault.
Because he's never
not biased at all.
He's never shoving. He's never moving to mid. Like he's never backing his team up. He's never getting vision around mid. He's never helping them with push. So I would fully blame this on Victor here.
Also Pantheon was hella YOLO clicking the mid tower there. Like that was,
I think outside of the mid laner coach perspective, I'm not sure if Victor is solely to blame there.
Yeah.
But
right.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
We can give an extra strike to Victor, but I don't want to cross him out yet. It's hard to
I agree.
There's a lot of knowledge you need to be able to set up this situation that is good for yourself to progress the game. Because I think you could be really strong this game. Victor could be like Thanos, but it is like complicated. You need to know all right, I need to help my team on mid. We need to take this space, and then once I have this space, it's easy for me to play. And I want to lean up every time I push the wave, so my team can keep pushing mid. Like, there's a lot of details here that is hard to have, especially when you got to focus on all the other things inside of the game.
Yeah, that's right.
Pantheon is cooked for that one, though.
I think we just got to be really careful about ever clicking mid towers. That's such a death trap.
Especially versus these type of champions. When you play against the engaged comp, if you don't see all of them on sides, hitting this mid tower is still dangerous. It's dangerous in general, but especially versus the engaged dive teams.
Also, so how does blue side clean out the game right now? Let's see what they're gonna do.
I mean, when you have Baron and you're playing the comp with engage, it gets a lot easier, right? Because you get bailed out on your weakness, which is playing the stare off, right? Because the Baron can just push the waves. So it's much easier to push waves in and take control. And then when you have space, you're in the river. Playing the engage is a lot easier. All right, we're spiking on Zed. We are not suffering from the W max anymore. He's at 3 items. All right.
I like what Akali is doing here. This, she wants to be on the side, and she doesn't have the Baron buff. Okay, never mind. I thought she was going to carry the Baron buff over to the side tower, and at least she's not A-ramming.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I still think it's fine where Akali's at.
Yeah, I don't like this though. We should be pushing our control into here. We should be trying to take all this space. We want to be breaking towers with Baron. The Dragon we can do at the end, Atakan we can do at the end. Primarily, we want to be playing the towers first.
This is coming back to supports just sitting mid all day, in my eyes. Between waves, or when you're comfortable with the result of a wave contest, just leave. Just sweep out an area, just drop some wards, get some vision control. You really don't have to babysit your ADC 24/7.
Yeah, Real has 4 wards here.
And I can understand where it's coming from. You're worried that your teammates are just going to constantly die, or your ADC is very vulnerable and needs protection. But you can, the main idea is between waves, you can do other things. Waves are important, but they're going to be windows where you can move and you can communicate as well.
What was this Bluetooth Zac Q, by the way? Did you see that? He's a mega long range on this one. This is crazy engage. Wait, hold on, check this out.
Oh. Well played.
Oh, all right.
Okay. I didn't expect a full mid dive from blue team, but Zac found an awesome angle.
Zac
might be game.
Props to the Zac engage there. And I think something that, might go without saying for us, but making sure that your engage is in fog on a champion like Zac is very important. And if that was just out in the open, it's probably not going to work out. But he found a pocket of fog
hiding in here,
and he sent it.
All right. Okay, well, we
Yeah, it
blew
was
up
a
in the
great one.
game. One inhib, one side tower, some objectives on the back end. It's kind of nice. We did have to do it with some brute force, however, but at the end of the day, got the job done.
What do you think of this Octagon here?
Uh, I mean, I think I would be very happy, like, basing and then playing for this tower and this tower. When you have mid inhib, it's very easy to play for a side inhib because you push mid all the way in, and then one of your flankers threatens from here. And being these guys under tower is super hard. It's like really, really tricky. Um, Especially when you have such a vulnerable team comp and you have such good engage. If there's like a Rel over here or a Zac over here, staying under this tower is super dicey. We don't have the best like siege champions by any means, but if there's waves coming in here and there's people flanking and threatening it all, we don't have any stopwatches. We have no Victor flash. Like, it's really hard to play. So I'm down with like pushing the tempo forwards. Um, Myself, I think that like when you have the inhib, you really want to start breaking these two.
I think that would be ideal, but I think that would be a pretty precise sequence that might be a little bit too much for this elo bracket. And I think like what I would rather see is just have an idea of what you want to play for next, right? Just top inner, and then just start to get some vision control of that quadrant. And that would be a good starting point. It's kind of like threatening a flank and posturing and collapsing might be a bit tricky to communicate and to pull off here.
Yeah, I think if it's just eat Atakan, take topside push, set up control for next Baron, I think that's more than enough. Looks like it's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I love this. This was an amazing lane assignment swap by Blue Side here. They sent the Akali with TP to bot, and they sent the Zed with Ignited top. This was incredible. Really intentional little state usage.
If we put our wards down,
would you not prefer to see Zed on mid here, Tim, and have Jinx by the objective?
What do you mean?
Would you rather not have Zed mid here and have like Jinx Rel on top side by the objective?
So the problem with Zed on mid is Zed can't get prio on mid. That's the problem. If it's like Arya or something like that, you can do it. But if Zed's facing up against Draven plus Pantheon, he's going to get pushed in. You want to keep mid push at all costs. So Zed is on side is a lot better.
This was pretty close. There's a couple pointers here. I think the first one is this flash is pretty unnecessary. He can just walk into range. I like the ult into the W into throw 3 shurikens. So this, we could just walk in. Because if we have flash at the end of this, he puts the W down, he throws 3 shurikens. He does miss them, but this is the correct idea. Then if we still have flash here, it's like flash auto E, I think this guy might die.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like, it's close to being good enough to get these kills down, but just like the flash was pretty unnecessary, and missing the shurikens ends up being pretty punishing here. But it's a good idea.
Really
and the champ mastery coming into play, right?
Oh, okay.
This Jinx has been turbo smurfing this entire game, by the way.
Yeah,
that's crazy. One thing Zed can do as well, he's got the item with the Cyclo Sword, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can literally just auto attack then Q.
Yeah.
But he just...
I mean, this is the point of the item, right? It makes it way easier for you to hit Q.
I think it's worth zooming out a little bit and just having a look at the Akali and the Zed mis-executing all of these, and that's to be expected in this elo bracket, and especially if you're not like absolutely one-tricking, and why we do talk about clear points of reference and ease of execution so much.
Yeah, it's like when we look at how the Zac and the Jinx are playing out the fights, it's been much easier for them, and I think that they've consistently played most of the fights pretty well, while for the Akali and the Zed, the mechanical burden is so high. It's similar a bit with the Darius, to be honest. Like, Darius is not mechanically complex. There's one or two combos in there, but for the most part, it's mostly about seeing your opportunity really sharply and being super confident and being able to find that like exact moment when they've used too much, Yeah,
and understanding how strong you are in some of those early levels.
Yeah, it's like the champs that are really sharp and precise, the Dravens, the Dariuses, the Akalis, the Zeds. It's just much harder to play than the Jinxes, the Zacs, the like easy team fighting, scaling, AoE.
Yeah, League is an incredibly difficult and complex game, and you just want to have as much margin for error as possible when you're choosing your champions.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff here.
I think Red Team is running out of space on the map here and options, to be honest.
Yeah, if they don't get something going like early, it's like the fight has been so hard. They're 6k behind. They're about to lose Soul. I am pretty down with Baron.
It's been outscaled a little bit.
Yeah. I'm down to break towers with Baron instead of playing for Oh, there's a brave TP already. We have all the homies on. Oh, we have the flanking jinx. What is this?
Oh, the Jinx flank.
Uh-oh.
It's
Uh-oh.
Jinx's turn to be Alistair here.
Yeah.
She should
Okay,
stat
I
check
mean,
probably. She probably just stat checks.
but
Oh,
we
never
don't.
mind.
Okay, I mean, Jinx was doing such a good job for 37 minutes, and then
Yeah.
Jinx became an Alistair in flank. So
Yeah.
we got to give a
All
little
right, dude,
cross off to the Jinx
that's a
there.
strike. Oh, that's so sad. Casanoa was doing so
It
good
is
this
sad.
entire game.
We were so
She lost both
disciplined.
sims too. That's rough. Yeah,
Oh,
so
man.
this game is
Maybe
going to
we got
be
a little bit.
5 minutes for nothing. So I think we can speed it up a bit here, because the only way that we're now going to be winning the game is probably through Elder.
I just want to expand on that Jinx play a little bit, because
Yeah.
sometimes people just get bored, right? And that looked like a little bit of boredom to me. It was a completely different angle for what we were doing for the rest of the game. And a decision like that can genuinely lose you the entire game.
Darius got so much money there. He got like 2,000 gold in that one moment. Like, he's rich now. He's ahead of Akali.
And
Or
now
like
there's
on par with Akali in items now.
Yeah, and there's a 5-minute window where this Jinx has no flash, and if she dies again, then suddenly they get an objective and they start to take some space on the map, and then it's a completely different reality.
Yeah, it gets pretty spooky.
And I think this example is actually a really good example of a classic lower elo solo queue game as well. Is where
Oh, there we go.
translation of leads is just really, really hard. They don't really know how to translate leads. The catches, losing of focus everywhere, shit's hitting the fan everywhere, and we see it. We see it in this game really well.
Absolutely.
Okay,
the boys just kind of collapse and salvage it for the Jinx.
I was thinking that
scaling is coming in.
All the damage also ran out. It's like super free moment on Darius when like all the carries are dead and you're only left with fat dudes. It's just like Darius aura farming. Like, it's very easy. All right. Should always be very, very concerned. All of these like really big bruiser champions, once your carry is dead, it's super hard to deal with them. Hey, wait, did you see that? Look at the minimap here. Oh my god. If we actually do this, it's be Thanos.
The arms?
Like, yeah, no, we just dropped like three ward pings in enemy topside jungle from blue team. He's like, all right, I want ward here, I want ward here, I want ward here. We want to play into this tower.
Oh, I didn't see that actually.
Yeah. If we do this, it's fantastic.
See how it is.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. What's the play? There we go. We got some more. All right. That's one ward down.
Yeah, so this is why I talk about pressuring with junglers so much. As a support, it literally solves like 10 different issues at the same time. If we're starting to pressure the map when our jungle's not ready, we're not going to get deep vision coverage. Our wards are just going to get instantly cleared out. So I would like to, again, just see Rel chill out, do nothing. When our Zac is active on the map, we link up, then we find some vision control, then we can get some space on the map.
Yeah, this is getting really tricky. But Akali has a lot of pressure in this situation. Her wave is about to go in. We got caught a little bit before.
We're so disconnected from our Jinx as well.
Yeah,
this is looking really rough. Jinx needs to be super vocal here about what she needs, because, yeah, she needs to be able to group up.
Oh, would you walk at that guy's Victor? I feel like you kind of evaporate him, no?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, he's kind of one-shot him. He clicked EQ and half health the guy. Oh wait, there's a mega Zac engage. Oh, it's the one.
Jinx is not here, but it doesn't matter.
I'm a big... So you see Jinx flash here? This is one of the things I see the most that is really bad out of AD players. This flash here is like flashing into range to hit Darius. And it's like...
yeah.
Flashing for 1 kill as AD is never worth it, because you can lose the entire game with no flash. It's so hard for you
especially on a champion like Jinx, right? Where you don't really have many resources to survive.
Can I unstrike this Zac? This guy has had like 7 mega engages in a row. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can clearly see where his strengths are, right? This guy struggled a bit in the game.
He gets a tick.
He's a beast.
Yeah. All right. He's also kept up his economy
those
pretty
creative
well.
engages.
He's like he's +1 item on Pantheon just from hitting his camps more frequently. All right, another Baron. What can we do with this one? All right, we have Elder up. All right. We should probably
good.
push another midwave, though. Get them stuck in here. Actually, this might just die really quickly. Pantheon has ult, though. He could flip
I
it.
think it might get blown up
Yeah.
if they want to blow it up. Jinx
Yeah.
is not hitting the objective. It's not going to get blown up. That's
Yeah.
better.
All right.
I would not. Okay, I'm a little bit worried about. Okay, should be fine. And then
Whoa.
surely red
Pretty
team
easy
gets
victory.
rinsed here.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Good night.
I'm down for an elder flip. It's hard to figure out what to do on that whole sequence, I think.
I think it's like, as well, if Pantheon doesn't have vision, it's hard for him to flip it. You can use the blue trinkets to like try and get some idea, and then you can just like ult in. Because your Q smite's really good still at this point in the game, right? So it's like a pretty high percentage flip for Pantheon, but it's still tricky with no vision. Jinx positioning was getting really spicy when she was in the pit, though. It was like,
I was a bit worried with no flash
Yeah.
in the pit, but she backed herself. She had front line in front of her, and
all right,
it
what
worked.
do we reckon? We got MVP to give, right? And we got what is it?
Student of the game.
Student of the
LVP.
game. Yeah, no, we moved on. It's student of the game now, and then giving it a crack.
What?
right,
What
so-
student of the game?
Student of the game. It's effectively the same thing. Whoever needs to, we need to be working on some stuff. All right, so MVP. Who we
Who has the
giving it to? I
most
think-
learning to take away from the game?
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Because I think Jinx and Zach did. So Zach, I think, had a tough early game. Jinx had a pretty solid game all around with just like one really like catastrophic int, right?
I mean, I'm going to be biased, but I really think Rel did a poor job of understanding her role at most stages of this game. We played too fast. We never
Yep.
found windows to progress our vision line forwards. I didn't talk about it much, but the build is not making sense. We just want to be more conservative and scale up instead of running around with heaps of move speed and trying to fight a bunch of the time. So there's a lot of learning for Linwood here. I think starting off, you just got to understand your lane. Just keep it simple, right? What does Jinx want? What does Draven want? They're two pretty extreme ideas of what they want. Just be comfortable chilling out and then understand how to progress your vision line forwards, link up with your jungler, be comfortable leaving your ADC, and then go from there. But I'm pretty support biased, so what do you guys think?
I think so too. I think this was like one of the main areas that like the game was a bit of a struggle. Where if we're happy to chill and conserve HP and play on Zac timers, it would have been a lot easier to play out the game. I think it was very like impatient. So I'm down for Linwood to be student of the game.
I'm happy with that too.
Yeah. All right. But MVP, who is the MVP of this game?
It was going to be Jinx until those two random deaths.
Yeah.
It was so good to see that discipline and not getting bored until it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think that both AD carries deserve it for this one.
I'm down. I think there was some windows missed by Ibku, but for the most part, like the laning was solid, the trading was solid. So I think, yeah, I'm down for the double MVP on the ADs. And then
The
give
fact
it a
that
crack.
he only has one death versus the team comp that blue side has in this game,
Yeah.
I think is impressive.
All right.
Yeah.
Then yeah, giving it a crack. I don't know.
Zed.
I think Zed.
He just
What's
I'm
the
really
giving it
very
a
on a
crack?
sovereign. Sovereign,
What's the
you should-
criteria?
I really want to be saying something to Sovereign here.
Yeah.
Don't pick this champion solo queue, please.
Yeah.
Unless you want to have fun, right? That's fine. If you want to have fun, that's okay. But you will not ever climb with this champion.
Yeah, it's very
sorry.
tricky. We can make it simpler for sure.
Yes.
I think yeah, he had an alright late game, but like the first 20 minutes of this game was just brutal. It was just really brutal, really tricky.
Yes, that's right. So I'll give that one to Zed. I think that Lux also, like, she did a pretty good job. I want to do a little bit of an honorable mention to that. I think Victor's team fighting was decent. He had a decent lane. In the mid game, he was a bit lost. We got to definitely do some work on there, Mr. Ganking. But overall, not too bad.
All right. Any final comments before we wrap it up?
I think it was a nice explosive game going all around. I think it was a
crazy
interesting
comeback
game to
from
watch
Blue,
for
to be
sure.
honest. Like the game was really cooked, and then just a couple good fights. It was cool to see them execute on their team comp.
I think it was just a good showcase of common areas of improvement for lower elo in terms of overgrouping and not understanding waves, and yeah, just I'm sure that you guys would have learned a lot from watching this. It was good fun to have a look.
Splendid.